Alright guys, so in this video I really want to talk about who I am as a person, what makes me tick, and just try to let you guys know me a little bit more because I know that sometimes I show up as a certain person, in person or online, and that might not be the best reflection of who I really am. So this is totally unscripted. I don't really have anything but mental bullet points to go over in this video, but I do really want to give my best shot at being articulate and just, very transparent with who I am, what makes me work, and that type of stuff. So I'm going to start telling my story from the very start. This is a point in which when I was younger, I would always leave this point out because I didn't really think or want to believe that it contributed too much to who I am. But I know now that as I get older and grow, it definitely does contribute to what makes me work. So when I was 1 year old, I was adopted from Guatemala. And to be completely honest, I don't really know anything about my birth parents at all. I was adopted by two white people that live in Massachusetts, and they are my parents, 1,000% in my mind, through and through. Raised me, did everything for me as a kid, and really just, loved me like their own. And in my head, they are my own and I am their own. When I was in second grade, we moved from Massachusetts to New Hampshire, so that's where I've spent most of my time growing up that I really remember is in New Hampshire. And I really did struggle at some point, I guess, with not looking like everybody else, mainly because I was told that. It wasn't really something that I ever thought on my own. I was told that I was adopted, I accepted it, and I kind of just carried on with my childhood like I normally would. And in some senses, not really knowing my birth parents per se helped me get through that pretty quickly because I realized that even if I wanted to find them, it would be very difficult. I've only ever seen a picture, but my parents growing up gave me all the love in the world that I've ever needed. But as I went throughout school, it was difficult to have other kids point out the fact that my parents weren't my real parents, or I looked a certain way. But that was difficult to go through, honestly, growing up. But I don't really focus on that too much now because I think that every single kid goes through something like that, whether you're overweight, skinny, whatever it might be. That wasn't most of my childhood focusing on that at all. It was a small part. I was lucky enough to meet a ton of great friends up here in New Hampshire, start playing sports. So I honestly had a really good school experience overall. I had a ton of friends. I played sports. I was included in a lot of things. As far as elementary, middle school, high school goes, they were all really good times overall because I was surrounded by a ton of great people. But I would say one of my biggest motivations or reasons to move forward in this life is when I was adopted by my parents, my mom, my dad. My mom had serious health issues growing up as a kid. So pretty much my entire childhood, my mom was either in a wheelchair or in bed, and that was pretty much just the way it was, what I got used to. And when I moved up here, it was really easy for me to kind of forget about those darker times of my life because I was surrounded by friends, just absolutely in love with soccer. I really believed growing up, if that isn't what I did, then I didn't want to do anything else. That was absolutely my entire life. I'm a very all or nothing person. That is all that I ever wanted. I believed I would be up there with the greatest at some point, and I worked really hard to make good teams, and I always felt confident when I stepped out there to play a game or anything like that. I feel like I was pretty well known for soccer over my youth, and that's just something that I am proud of because I did put in the work. I did love certain things, about training, and just as far as that goes, I would always want to do a little bit extra. I would at certain points work out before games, or go lift before practices. Or when I was a kid, if somebody kicked the ball over the net, I would want to go get it, one, so we could keep playing, but two, so I could just get some extra steps in, so I could do a little bit more running to hopefully give me the edge. So I was blessed to be a pretty quick kid. But at some point, I think that really what happened is I chose my friends over my goals and really just relied on my talent at a certain point. And like anything else, that came back to screw me because when it came time for looking at colleges and that type of stuff, I had a couple that I was looking at, but it really didn't go too great as far as getting on top of that super early, or making sure that I was, as valuable as I could be by continuing to train as hard as I did when I was younger, because I was just purely playing for the love of it. And then I got a little bit of attention for it, and I kind of just stopped trying as hard as I would have because I felt like I was already at the top of my specific age group for where I was around. But obviously that's not true. And then it came time to go to college, the end of high school. And really what happened was I wasn't on a team. I didn't commit to a team or anything. And I realized that I don't even want to go to college because I only wanted to go to play soccer and I wasn't going to. And my family isn't wealthy by any means. I am blessed, but we definitely don't have excess resources. So, college was going to be something that I was going to put myself through. And it was just, I was working and kind of realized that I couldn't afford that on my own. And if I didn't even want to do it, then there was no point. I did do about a year of online school, and I realized at some point that I was only doing it for other people. I just hated when people asked me, are you going to school? And I was like, yes, I'm taking psychology online because COVID screwed me over. And, honestly, the truth was I could have taken out a loan, gone in person, but it just wasn't for me. And eventually that desire got so strong that I just dropped out of online school. At the time, I was kind of searching for a new passion through personal training, being able to help people get healthier because my mother was always so unhealthy or just went through such bad health issues was really fulfilling to me. So I was kind of falling in love with that. I was seeing my own progress, my own gains at the time. So then what happened was I worked at the world headquarters for Planet Fitness for 2 years. And, anybody in the gym community, I know it's Planet Fitness, but honestly, this one was a little bit different. So the thing was, I got to run my own personal training department out of Planet Fitness, do whatever I wanted. And it was really cool because I learned a lot and I cared. So I really wanted to make sure that these people got a really good product from me, understood what they were doing past the level of just exercise. But it was also really feeding my internal fire to help people, to serve people, to help the kid who had a sick mom actually grow up and be useful and not just feel like a failure because I wasn't playing soccer anymore. And as a result, I got to the point where, and it's interesting to say, I think this means a lot to me, but I think somebody who's older, it might not mean as much because it hurts them. But I realized at a very young age, I was probably 18, 19 at the time, that I didn't need to wait until I was 40, 45, 50 to realize that I didn't like corporate America. I didn't want to get promoted. I was offered several promotions at that job, outside of personal training to manage, assistant manage, that type of stuff, for Planet Fitness in, the world headquarters location. And I just didn't want it because I saw the people who were there previously become extremely unhappy from those positions. And it made me realize that I didn't want to climb that ladder. I was very confident in my knowledge because I was self-taught at this point. I just had a passion for it, and I went all in like I did with soccer when I was a kid. So I quit the job. Long story short with this part, had a lot of time saved up from working for 2 years straight. So I took the time, used it, and that was going to be my window of time to figure out how I was going to start my own fitness business. And within that time, an influencer that I followed posted a story with somebody who had DM'd me because at this time I was writing blogs on my own for fitness. I had a website, I was selling mini programs that you could buy and that type of stuff. Really wasn't making any money, but I loved it. I was just in my room doing that type of stuff all the time. So what I was able to do was, in the weirdest way possible, all the stars aligned for me. During that period of time, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. That guy DM'd me about his program that helps people, gives people resources to start their own business. And I invested. I was totally in. I'd been following the influencer for a long time, and she posted that this guy changed her life. So I was like, this guy DM'd me, and he says he likes my content. So, I hopped on, invested, let's say $5,000 to $10,000 with his company. He gave me sales resources, just things within business that you kind of need in terms of, making your business official and that type of stuff. So that really helped me get started. And for the past 6, 7, 8-ish months, I've been operating my own fitness coaching business, working with my own clients, teaching them how to make transformations, and it just means everything to me. But looking back on that, there's been a lot of things that have made me want to roll the dice on myself at this young age. I kind of hate being told how young I am because I know, one of my philosophies is definitely just because you're young doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying. Most of the time I hear from people who have done it, who support me, that actually just means that I have a little bit more time than I think to figure it out, not that I shouldn't be trying. I'm very big on meaning I love feeling passionate about certain things. And, there was a lot of stepping stones that I've been through to get to the point where I can call myself a business owner at 20 years old. I'm growing, scaling, trying to serve people, help people. I really do love what I do. And I would tell anybody who, I don't care what you want to do, no matter what it is, like, you can do it. It really, it doesn't matter if other people support you. That's been the hardest part for me so far, is telling my parents, telling other people, like, I am working online. It is 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I'm home, or I'm on the computer and I'm not playing Minecraft. Like, I am making content, I am talking to people across the world on Zoom. Like, I'm doing all these things that I'm blessed to be able to do, and I just want so much more for myself, my family. Like, they drive me forward. I think of myself, honestly, and I'm not afraid to admit this, like somebody who is meant to be special, because, I was taken from this third world country as a child, placed in a family where, they're very loving, but there's definitely a lot of health issues and all the traumatic things that come with that. I really did go through as a result of being so afraid, growing up, to lose my parents. That's something that really does scare me, because it was always such a real thing growing up. And now that I can help people, regain their health, regain their fitness, build confidence, like, I am just so lucky, and I just want more. That goal is always receding. I thought once I officially had the business, like this right here, like, this is my LLC for Body Math Fitness. Like, I own this business right here. This is making everything legitimate. And I got that when I was 20 years old, and it means everything to me. But I want more. I want to help more people. I want to scale. I want to tell you guys you can do the same thing. There's no reason you shouldn't feel like you are the person that is chosen for certain things. There is absolutely no reason. You don't need to have a crazy story. If anything, I wish that you don't. I wish that, yes, like, you value hard work, you value going through the things that you've been through, because you can take from that. But I don't want you to have traumatic experiences. I want you to avoid those. I want you to really feel like there are certain things in this life that you can achieve if you earn it. And, that's a huge principle for me. My father, is a very hardworking man. I don't know if, as a baby, my birth parents gave me away because they knew I couldn't have a good life where I was, or, if they were trying to make money off of, getting rid of a kid through adoption, or, maybe they had their own health issues. I don't know. I might never know. But it's just something that, I kind of get to pick in my head what drives me forward. And I am always going to use those bad situations, the unknown, to propel me forward. So I really do believe that there is inner greatness inside of every single one of us. You, me, anybody it's just about really being brave enough to take that step, right? You know what you need to do. You have to keep moving forward. And it's just something that's really cool to me, because, I get to pick my path. It's difficult, but I can tell you for a second, even in the hardest venture so far of business, I have never thought for a second, I wish I just tried to be average, tried to be comfortable, tried to stay at the job that I'd had. And you can do the same thing too. There's just so much to it. I really do believe in putting my intention out there, trying to serve the people in my life who've done nothing but love and help me out. And that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. So, if you want to go through your own fitness transformation, want to work on your mindset, want to become the greatest version of yourself, I would love to work with you. I just want you to know how I work, because there are levels to this, and I'm only scraping the surface right now. I can feel it. Just doing things like this makes me just want to, have conversations with people and be like, hey man, what makes you tick? Not that superficial, how are you, I'm good type of stuff, but like, I've been through stuff, but I want to be better, and I can use it. And, I want money, I want respect, but I want it for the right reasons. I'm very big on reasoning. I really do believe that things happen for a reason. This bracelet right here, trust the process. I got this in one of my darker times, I guess. When COVID happened, I was going through high school. I kind of lost all my friends in a way. I didn't really lose them. I'm still friends with them, but we just aren't as close as I would have been if I'd went to the same college all of them went, obviously. So it was kind of difficult for me always having friends, to having been on my own for the first time. So then at that point, it was feeling very lonely, but I got this bracelet because every time I looked at it, to me, it means, everything happens for a reason. Trust the process. Like, just keep going. It's a reminder that things are meant to be, and what is happening is meant to be. So I am meant to make this video. You are meant to take this energy and use it, on things that will improve your life, the lives of those that you love, and I hope that we can do that together.